everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I have for you another book review, and it's going to be a review about Chain of Gold. This beautiful creature right here, Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare, is the first book in the Last Hours trilogy, which is like the second to last trilogy in the Shadowhunters world. Yes, I finished this Wednesday. It's now Friday. So I've had some time to stew on it, and at first I was debating whether or not to review Chain of Gold and Chain of Iron in the same video, but I figured that would be like 2 hours long, so we're gonna do 2 videos, so look forward to that one in probably not the near future, but the future. So Chain of Gold, I'm reviewing this a year late. It took me that long to get my hands on this book because originally I had thought that I wanted to wait to get them in paperback. I've talked about this before, but then I realized I didn't want to wait every year for another paperback. Like, I would be waiting longer. So I just decided to buy it, and I bought it, and I read it. And so, yes, how this video is going to work in my mind. The first half portion is going to be spoiler free. So like just my overall thoughts without getting into any specifics. And then the last portion will be spoiler filled. Before we get into the big spoilers of anything, I will warn you. I will give a proper warning. Just as kind of like an overall spoiler warning. I don't know, before I get there, I don't know if anything else will come up. I don't think so, but I would recommend before you watch this or before you read this to get caught up on the like 20 something, it's not 20, there's like 12 or 13 books in the Shadowhunter world before you watch this, because I will be talking about some other characters and there will probably be spoilers for other books. I'll try and let you know if I think of it, but just as a general warning, this is like the 100th series she's done, so if you don't know what it's about and you clicked on this video, I don't know what to tell you. The Shadowhunter world is basically a race of half human, half angels fight demons to protect the human world from demons, from evil. There it is. I've loved this world for a long time, and it is drawing to a close. I'm very scared. I will continue to make future Shadowhunter content because I love them, and it's a big part of my life and my reading experience. So yeah. Yes. Okay. Rant over. What else was I going to say? I think that's it. Should we get into this masterpiece? I think we should. Maybe. Just some background. Some more background. I will say, I will caution you. Before reading this, I would recommend you read or reread, definitely read though, but maybe reread The Infernal Devices, which are Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and Clockwork Princess, because this story follows the children of the main characters in those books, and they are mentioned, like they're pretty relevant in this, so I would definitely recommend rereading that. I reread it in January and I feel like it greatly improved my reading experience. If I hadn't reread it, I would have been kind of confused because it had been a few years. So yeah. I would also say, caution you to read or reread the novellas, specifically those in Tales from Shadowhunter Academy and Ghosts of the Shadow Market. I would Google like characters from last hour's novellas type of thing and read those because I thought I was good and I really should have gone and reread especially Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, because these characters did appear there in some of the novellas in there, and I felt like there were a lot of references that I maybe wasn't picking up on quite accurately enough, so I wish I had done that. Not even read the whole novella bind up, but just the chapters on these guys. I'm pretty sure it was that. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was either in there or... because the ones I'm thinking about all took place at the Shadowhunter Academy. So I'm pretty sure it's in that novella bind up. I don't know. There are so many books, it's hard to keep track. Yeah, that's my caution. Read those before you read this. And I feel like your reading experience will be enhanced. Or read it afterwards, and then maybe you'll be like, okay. Yeah, so now getting into the actual review portion of this, still spoiler free. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. No surprise there. I rarely give any Cassie book a 4 or below. This was a 5. Saying that, off of that, not my favorite. It'd be hard to beat my favorite out of its spot, but it's up there. Like top 5 probably. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. Yes. Did it beat my expectations? I don't know. I have this weird thing with Cassie's books, especially, well, I mean the Shadowhunter books, where every new book I read, there's like this question in my mind, like, do I really like it, or am I just liking it because other people in the fandom like it? Does anyone else ever feel that way about a book? And it's like, do I really like it, or do I want myself to like it? But then like 100 pages go by and that thought flits away. So I really liked it. After I had those intrusive thoughts, after I started this, it really just felt like coming home. And I find that true in every book that I read in this world. It just envelops me in like a weighted soft blanket. And it makes my heart happy to read these. That's why I'm continuing to read them. Yeah, it just, every Shadowhunter book feels like I'm coming home, especially the ones where it's new and things are exciting and we're meeting new characters and it's new time period and London, and it just makes my heart so happy and brings me so much serotonin that I desperately need. So yeah, that's a part of why, of any review on any Shadowhunter book, that plays a part in it. Just that feeling of just joy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we all have that series where it's just such a comfort to us, and it's definitely these books. Okay, off of that, the first 100 pages of this book, this is not a spoiler. The first 100 pages, I saw someone else talk about this. The plot was kind of absent for like the first little bit. To rebuke that, the first 100 or so pages of any fantasy novel, or depending on its size really, is world building. And because these books take place in like London, New York, like in this world, just with different elements, she doesn't really have to do that. Especially this being like the 12th or 13th book in this world, like how much more can she do with the world building aspect of it? Like we know what we're getting into. And so she takes the first 100 pages pretty much of every first book to really establish the characters. And because I am a character-based reader, I did not mind it. I only realized it when Emma from Emma Books pointed it out in her Chain of Gold reading vlog, and I was like, that's actually a good point. But I don't mind it, and I really barely notice it because I love the characters and I love getting to meet them. And navigate all the different dynamics that we're being introduced to. So yes, on the back of that, I loved the characters and all of their dynamics and relationships. I kind of already mentioned this, but the atmosphere of just London, Edwardian London, and all of the imagery she uses to describe like the clothing and the food and like the way they speak is just so nicely done. It really makes me feel like I'm living in London, which is a dream of mine. So I like that part of it. I really liked the inclusion of flashbacks in this. I feel like as I grow older, I appreciate flashbacks more and more if they're done the right way, which I think Cassie did a good job using them in this book. Because it's just, you're getting to know the characters and their backgrounds without it having, like, without it being expositionally. It's not like just, here's a random moment. It's just, like, how can I explain this? It's purposeful flashbacks. It's not just, like, thrown in there. And I actually kind of prefer that, especially when it's for a book with a cast of characters as large as this has. If she did that for, I mean, if she took the time to interdisperse it, it would be like every few sentences would be, oh, this is what happened back then. And instead we get whole chapters dedicated to a specific flashback. And I liked it. I appreciated it. I know some people might not, but I did like it. One critique that I also noticed after Emma mentioned it, there were some info dumps in here. Like one major one I can think of. But there were a couple times where I was like, let me reread that because I didn't fully process that information. Which is okay. It happens. It was just something I kind of thought of when I read it, and then when Emma mentioned it, I was like, it's a good point. There were a couple of info dumps where it's like just a lot of information and reveals at one time, and it was like kind of overwhelming a little bit, and I had to reread a couple of sentences, but it's fine. Another thing that I wanted to mention is I really appreciated the LGBTQ representation going on in this lovely thing. It was pretty great, and I loved how she did it so naturally. Like, so the two last points I wanted to make before we get into spoilers is character growth, going back to what I said about I love the characters, but there are some really good character growth and maybe not growth, development is the better word. A lot of these characters are super complex, and we haven't even like touched the surface of some of their complexities yet, but I saw it and I was like, it's there. And so I'm really excited to explore their depths. And we did get some exploration in this, but really it was just like setting the scene for the next two books, and I'm excited. Last thing, can I remember? Oh, this book was so funny. Cassie always makes me laugh. Just her wit and like the dialogue and the banter between the characters always makes me laugh. But this book I found to be especially hilarious. Like, I was chuckling and laughing so much. It was just their banter, especially between James and Matthew and Lucy, is hilarious, and just the gang itself was just, they're so freaking funny. And I really enjoyed it. It made me happy to see these characters having some fun and joking around before things probably get really, really depressing. So yes, let's pause for a second. This is your warning. I'm about to get into some spoilers. I'm really excited. If you can't tell, I'm like smiling. I'm ready to go talk about some specifics. So if you have not read this or finished it yet, bye. Also, I will be mentioning some other characters, things from other series. So I would say if you haven't read The Mortal Instruments, The Infernal Devices, The Dark Artifices, those series, if you haven't finished them all the way, if you don't know what happens in them, maybe don't keep watching. Thank you if you're leaving. Thanks for watching the half of this video. See you later. Now for all my lovelies who are staying, let's get into it, okay? Yes, let's dive in. Okay, so where to start? let's just hop right in and begin with every time I saw Jim in this book, I cried. I literally I'm tearing up thinking about it. Every time Jim made a cameo, brought tears to my eyes. I love Jim, if you don't know this. He's probably like my second favorite character out of this world, and he's one of my favorite characters of all time. I have always been a Jim stan, and I always will be. And so whenever he showed up in his robes, I was like, yes. It made me so excited. Look at me like smiling. Oh my god. Yeah, and I loved his interactions with James and Lucy, and just really personifying his role as Uncle Jim. Oh, and I'm really hoping we get some more scenes between him and Cordelia, because he has like no family and she's his family, and I need it. Yeah. And can I just say, when Will, like, it mentioned at some point, no, James, who am I? Let's backtrack. Can I just mention, at some point they mentioned that Jim, he had his staff, his Silent Brothers staff, and WH was carved into it. When I tell you I cried, oh my god, my heart was like, I just love them. Okay, let's stop talking about them. I could literally rant for hours on those two boys. We're gonna skip past it now. Okay, another person I love seeing in this was Magnus. The whole time I was like, well, where is Magnus? Because one of my favorite things about this series is Magnus's continued presence, and he's like a constant, a fixed variable throughout all of these books. And I was like, where is he for half of it? And then he showed up just so casually, like he was like, hey, I'm here, bitches. And he immediately started roasting them, and it was such a Magnus entrance, and I literally screamed. I was like, Magnus, thank God. And even like my Goodreads, when I updated for that day, my comment was, thank God for Magnus Bane, because I just love him so much. And when he came, I was like, yes. And then like towards the end where he was like, maybe I should send for my cat, like I'm gonna be here a while. I had to laugh. Like, this man is so hilarious, and he makes my heart happy, and it makes me happy to see him interacting with all our new characters, and to see him, you know, like he's gonna babysit them like always. So some scenes I loved. I loved the first battle scene at the park where all the demons like rushed them. It was really exciting because until that point, you know, we hadn't really seen any fighting, demonic activity going on. So when they rushed them, I was like, here it is. It's getting going. And I really liked it. It's always interesting to me to see how each group of characters fights differently, but like kind of the same, but kind of differently. Like Jason, Alec, and Clare and Isabel, they all fight in a specific way to their group, And so this group fought in a specific way, and Cordelia, being the boss she is and just saving their skins so many times and whipping that sword around. Oh, I loved it. Yes, and it was a surprise too. So I really liked that scene. Another scene I liked was when they were at Hell Rule. Ruelle, I'm pretty sure is how you say it. The Downworlder saloon, I never know how to read that in my mind. Anyway, when they were there and Cordelia like did her dance, and afterwards, the steamy scene between her and James in the whispering room. Yep, I liked that. I was here for it. I love James and Cordelia, and I ship them really hard. They're definitely probably going to be my OTP of this series, of this trilogy, I mean. Yes, I I liked that. It was pretty good. On the back of that, let's talk about Cordelia and James. As I said, I really ship them. However, I love Matthew, and I don't want his sweet little heart to be broken. But I'm excited to see him and James's interactions in the future going forward, because James and Cordelia are getting married, and he's like in love with her, and so we're having kind of a parabatai. Is that how you say it? Anywho, triangle, love triangle again. And yeah, I'm already thinking about some scenes I've read in Chain of Iron right now that I can't mention because that's a separate book. Anywho, I really ship them, and I loved the whispering room scene and pretty much every scene they're together. Another scene, another fight scene. I'm gonna be talking about a lot of fight scenes. Fight scene on the bridge. Yes. Again, Cordelia whipping out Cortana, saving their butts, being just an all-around awesome girl, learning how they all fight again. It was pretty awesome. I do wish, and this is like a larger note, that like Anna had fought with them some. I thought Anna was gonna be in this a lot more than she was. I thought she was gonna be like a part of the main group, and she really wasn't. I mean, she is an important character, but it just kind of, what was that noise? She was just kind of there. You know what I'm saying? Like, she never fought with them. And I want to see her fight. Thank you. But yeah, I just wish she had been in it a little bit more, because I loved her relationship with the Merry Thieves, especially Matthew. That little dynamic is really cute. And especially her new appreciation for Cordelia. I loved that little friendship that blossomed. Yeah, I just wish she had been in it a little bit more. Oh yeah, I meant to mention this earlier. The lost like Shadowhunter family tree thing, I have seen it before, and I went into this book knowing that Cordelia and James had a child, and Grace and Christopher get together. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it, look at it. I saw that like at some point in the past, and I remember thinking Christopher and Grace. I feel like, I don't know when that came up. I don't even know if it's canon or not, but that was in my mind. And so, and Lucy and Jesse, right? Yeah. So I'm interested to see how she handles that. I'm assuming he's gonna get brought back to life. I don't really know, or not. Maybe they just love each other and he's a ghost. So I wouldn't put it past her. But anywho, I just wanted to butt in with that when I was thinking about Jesse. I liked Jesse. He's interesting. Hate Grace with a burning passion. I never liked her. if she appeared in Shadowhunter Academy, I don't think I liked her then either. I feel like I've met her before now, but I do not like her. And I already know we're gonna get a redemption arc or something. I'm not here for it. Like, I don't want it. Don't like her, and I don't like her manipulating my boys and pitting them against each other. No. Or her getting in the way of Jace of James. I mean, they're basically the same person. Between James and Cordelia. I'm not here for it. Should be interesting getting to know her a bit better. Another character I wanted to mention was Alistair. Alistair. Anywho, Cordelia's brother. Again, going into this, I knew he was an asshole in Tales from Shadowhunter Academy. But I really liked seeing him interact with Cordelia. Their relationship is unusual because so far, like, the sibling relationships we've gotten, so between Alec and Isabel, and then like the Blackthorns and the Dark Artifices, and then now Lucy and James, they've all been pretty like standard lovey-dovey. I mean, they're very complex, all of them, in different ways, but I'm really just interested in Alistair and his character because he's such an asshole and we all hated him, but there's way more to him than that. And I really enjoyed seeing him interact with Cordelia and being overprotective but cold, and I don't know. And she loves him so much and she wants him to love her. I don't know. It was very interesting. And Alistair is just interesting to me. How many times have I said that? And I'm excited to see where she takes his character. On the back of that, the scene at the end when Matthew, Thomas, Lucy, and Alistair are like fighting at the engagement party, holy cow, I was sweating, I was anxious, I was sad, like made me tear up, because Thomas and him, that was really cute. I was here for it. And then when Matthew told them what he said, I was like, oh my god, that's awful. But like at the same time, I had already grown to really love him, so I don't know how to feel. We'll see a Chain of Iron, I guess. Yeah, that was a shock. Like, I knew when Matthew was like, I don't want Cordelia to know what he said, it had to be pretty bad, but I didn't know it was that bad. Okay, moving on. I really, really loved James and Matthew. They're so cute. And they remind me so much of Jim and Will, except they're more like outwardly affectionate towards each other, which was just so cute. Oh my gosh, like, they're so cute. And their bond is just really sweet. And it's really sweet. And like I said before, I'm interested to see how that dynamic shifts, because it started to shift in this, especially as we get to know Matthew a bit better and Cordelia and James become married. It's going to be interesting. But as of right now in this book, I loved them and they were so cute. Thank you. The Merry Thieves in general, I just loved their little group, their name, that's so cute, and their little hideout. It's very rare that we see like a group of guys that are friends like without the girls, and I know the girls are in their group of friends, but really it's like the four of them and then they tag along sometimes, and it was really precious and really, really, really cute. And they're all like brothers, and like, oh, the four of them. And I really hope she doesn't like tear my heart out and something happens to one of the four of them, because it's really gonna make me depressed. I almost dropped it. I just love them and their cute little shenanigans. And they're all so different. Speaking of friendships, Cordelia and Lucy. I mean, how could we not talk about them? I really enjoyed that duo. I feel like they were a breath of fresh air, because although we had like, let me think, like, you know, we had Clary and Simon, of course, and we had Emma and Julian, and then Emma and Christina, and Jason, Alec, and all the iconic duos we've had, and Will and Jem, duh. But this one just felt new. And I don't know how that's possible, because there are so many characters in these books and so many different relationships, but I don't know. There was something about Cordelia and Lucy, and I think it was the fact that Lucy like idolizes Cordelia, and she loves being her friend as much as she loves her. And you can just tell like she fangirls about her, and I think it's so sweet. And it reminded me almost of like Emma with Jace, like she fangirls about him, and that's the vibe I got. Like Lucy is so in love with their friendship and being her friend and being her future parabatai. And I just thought it was so cute to see Lucy like idolizing her and just looking up to her. And Cordelia loves her as well, obviously, and cares about her, but I just thought that dynamic was interesting and new and made it more fun. Okay, so like the last two things I want to talk about. Actually, wait a minute, because I was just talking about Emma. I forgot to write this down. Cortana. Cortana in this book. I love that sword, man. I feel like Cortana itself is a character. I loved her, it's a her, in The Dark Artifices with Emma, and I loved her even more with my girl Cordelia. There she is. I just love that sword. And it was so interesting to just see how the two girls over these generations value it so much and their relationship with it. And like when Cordelia called it Little Mouse or whatever when James brought it back to her. Oh my god, I was like, that is adorable. Yes. Last thing, a couple of things I wanted to mention. The fight scene between Belial, James, and Cordelia was so intense and exciting. I really enjoyed it. Again, Cordelia saving him. How many times I'm going to mention it? I just loved it. And then I didn't realize we would get to find out who exactly Tessa's dad was, but I'm here for it. Okay, great. And, you know, he's going to be a presence in this, obviously. And I just think that's interesting. It did remind me a little of, you know, the gonna turn him dark type of thing going on that happened in The Mortal Instruments with Jace and Valentine. Yes, it did kind of remind me of that, but you know, whatever. And then like Lillian and Sebastian type of goings on. Did remind me of that, but it's okay. We'll see where she leads us. And then Tatiana. Tatiana. I didn't realize she was going to be in this at all. And then she was, and I was like, ugh, hated her in the Infernal Devices, hate her in this. She's interesting though, because, you know, she cares about her son. Doesn't really care about Grace, I don't think, but it's interesting to see her motivations and how she still harbors such resentment towards people who didn't really even do anything to her. So, but yeah, like the scene where they're in the meeting and she like has this outburst and she's like, James burned down my manor. And I just hear her in my head as like this old redneck. And Cordelia was like, actually, he was in my room. I was like, oh, that's how they get engaged. I was like, wow, okay, didn't see that coming. Go you, girl. Do your thing. I just thought that was funny when Tatiana was like, he burned down my manor. And Will was like, shut up. And Cordelia was like, no, he didn't. That was just really funny. And the last thing I wanted to mention. So my thoughts overall, 5 out of 5, loved it. I loved a lot of things. There were a few things that I was like, I can't really tell you why it's not my favorite, because I feel like it's a lot of people's favorites. Um, I don't know. There was just something about it. I loved it, but it wasn't like quite top tier. It's up there though, which I've already said. And it was really good, and I'm already reading Chain of Iron and enjoying it. And my thoughts on that will be in a couple of weeks in another video. Expect to see this book. You'll see it in my wrap-up, obviously, but you will also see it in my favorites video, 110%. So yes, that was this video. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree, disagree? What were some of your favorite characters and scenes and stuff like that? I would love to know. If I mispronounced any of these names, I'm sorry. I've been saying Herondale the entire time I've read this, and it's Herondale. Herondale. I've said like Herondale like one word, and that's wrong. So yeah, I mispronounce a lot of these, and I misread them in my mind quite frequently, but I try my best. Anywho, like, subscribe, maybe, possibly. I have to put this book down so I can do my outro. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys have a great week. See you later. Peace out. Goodbye. In the video.